G'day mates, are you fired up? If not, you might find yourself feeling the heat against this video's gym. Now if you were to ask me which type of Pokemon was the most popular, I would likely jump immediately to the fire type. After all, almost everyone who played the original game started off with Charmander, and the fire starters who succeeded it have typically been the most popular for each generation. Despite this, we've only had 2 fire gyms across all 6 of the regions that have gyms in them, which strikes me as incredibly odd. And before you say anything, no, I do not count the Striaton gym as a fire gym. I consider it a multi-type gym, and very lame. Anyway, you didn't come here to hear me rant on about how strange it is that we have more bug-type gyms than fire-type gyms, so let's get to the meat of this video, shall we? As it turns out, coming up with unique concepts for gyms for each type was a lot more challenging than I originally thought, even when I accepted the fact that in one way or another I was going to end up reusing the gimmicks of other gyms. This was when I originally decided that I was just going to throw my hands into the air and say stuff it. This gym will be a basic gym without a gimmick, like Pewter Gym. This lasted all of a week before I was struck by inspiration based on something I remembered a friend telling me about this time he worked as a blacksmith. Now to clarify, I had already decided on the gym's theme and the Pokemon by this point, so it was purely coincidental that my friend's words fell into the theme so perfectly. Do you remember the Dewford Gym in Generation 3? When you went inside, you found yourself stuck in the dark. Lights would come back in areas after trainers were defeated, but if you knew your way around, you could avoid most of them easily and make a beeline for Bromly. Well, I took that idea, my friend's words of experience, and combined them. As you approach my fire gym, you'll notice 2 things. The first is a set of chimneys on top of the building that will have all been capped off. The second is a familiar face beneath a black hat. Before you enter the building, the man in black stops you to give you a warning. If you wish to face the leader of this gym, you'll have to find all of the switches to uncap the chimneys first. Shazam! I bet you didn't see that bit of inspiration from the Vermilion Gym coming to join the fray. When you enter the building, you find your vision severely impaired by thick smoke. You can hear the sound of metal hitting metal and the roar of fires coming from within. With trepidation, you start to make your way through the smog. Within moments, you'll start running into things like anvils, workbenches covered in tools, barrels of water. It is quite clear that this is a blacksmith's workshop. Eventually, you will find one of 4 large furnaces, glowing brightly. Interacting with it reveals a large lever on the side. You pull it, and a short cutscene plays, showing the chimney cap flipping open. Inside the gym, you'll notice that the smoke has thinned out a bit, and a trainer has suddenly appeared beside you, and is challenging you to a fight. This happens each time you open a chimney, presenting you with inescapable trainers to contend with, something that isn't very common amongst other 3rd tier gyms. Unfortunately, there aren't any current blacksmith-themed trainers in the game, so these guys will all be kindlers. They will use a small list of fire Pokemon made up of Magby, Magmar, Slugma, Torkoal, Numel, and Heatmor. Needless to say, but I hope you brought plenty of burn heals, especially as half of these Pokemon come with the Flame Body ability. Nevertheless, you defeat the 4 trainers and uncap all of the chimneys. Smoke finally dissipates completely and the door to the gym leader's personal workspace opens up. You enter the room and find me leaning against a large anvil, clearly waiting for you. Before we battle, I remark that the smoke in the room isn't from the forges, but is actually just coloured mist produced by hidden fog machines. When the chimneys are opened, some of the fog machines get switched off. This way, nobody is actually in any danger of suffocating. With that little bit of safety trivia in mind, it's time to fight. I have 4 Pokemon at this gym, and kick things all off with the cold Pokemon itself, Torkoal. With the White Smoke ability, and at level 22, this Torkoal knows Smokescreen, Flame Wheel, Curse, and Fire Spin. A tanky Pokemon that is immune to your Pokemon's stat lowering attacks. It will use Curse to power itself up, raising its attack and defense, before attacking itself. Normally the speed reduction from Curse would put it at a disadvantage, but since it has a significantly low speed to start with, it probably won't make much of a difference here. Following that up is my level 24 Numel, with the Own Tempo ability. It knows the attacks Magnitude, Lava Plume, Amnesia, and Flame Burst. Immune to one of the most annoying status effects ever implemented in the history of gaming, this little camel aims to bring the pain. Magnitude can hit with a power scale of 150, which at this level is tremendous. It also spells trouble for any rock types used to counter my fire type Pokemon. Thirdly, we have a level 27 Slugma with the Flame Body ability. It knows the attacks Flame Burst, Smoke Screen, Yawn, and Ancient Power. My signature Pokemon, as well as one of my favourite fire types overall, this Slugma relies on the power of Yawn. This will force you to swap your Pokemon out to avoid it falling asleep, otherwise you run the risk of losing turns trying to wake them up. This can be especially devastating to your party if you have been relying on only 1 or 2 Pokemon to take on my party from type matchups. And my final Pokemon is another Slugma at level 30. With the Flame Body ability, this one knows the attacks Flame Burst, Smoke Screen, Yawn, and Rock Slide. I was initially going to avoid using any Pokemon double-ups in my teams for this series, but due to the hard limits I set myself, I didn't have much of a choice this time. So I might end up having duplicates in future gyms now too. Anyway, my second Slugma is pretty much the same as the first, except that it swaps out Ancient Power with the notably more powerful Rock Slide. After the dust has settled, and your small collection of water Pokemon has doused my inner fire, you will stand the victor. I give you a smile, let you in on a little secret. The original challenge was to defeat the blacksmiths in order to have them craft a key to this room, but it resulted in such an excess of keys that they ended up having to smelt them all down to make the anvil that I'm currently leaning against. I then hand you the TM for Smokescreen, my team's signature move which this gym's current gimmick is based around due to its accuracy reducing effects, and the anvil badge. And that is my fire-type gym. What did you think about it? Do you have an idea for a fire-type gym? Let me know in the comments. Shout out to my friend Dan who came up with the key crafting challenge that this gym's leader tells you about. He suggested I use it for the gym's actual challenge, but I felt it would defeat the purpose of the series if I used someone else's idea over my own. But I do appreciate the gesture. Also, if you'd like to see more Pokemon Gym videos, subscribe to my channel, as I'll be releasing more over the rest of this year. I also recommend checking out Birdkeeper Toby's Pokemon Gym series. There'll be a link to his playlist in the description below. Until next time, cheers.